Narito ang programang totoong-totoo, Tambayan sa DWIZ. Programang magliliwanag ng ilang mahahalagang mga issue. Tambayan sa DWIZ. At ngayon, narito na sila upang maghatid ng saya sa bawat Pilipino. Sa programang Tambayan sa DWIZ.
Magandang tanghali po, ito po ang Tambayan. Ito po si Atty. Ahmed Paglinawan, ang inyong host ngayon dito sa Tambayan. I was supposed to go to the station, to the station DWIZ today. Kaso lang nalaman namin na we have been exposed to the COVID-19 virus. That includes Dion, ako, si Trixie, so we will be doing some, I don't know, protocols. Hindi natin yan. We will know after this kasi ngayon natin nalaman. Lahat ng mga na-contact namin, na-contact tracing kami ngayon, lahat medyo kita pa rin ito sa tagal-tagal ng pandemya na hindi kami na-expose ngayon pa na busy na. So medyo ingat tayong lahat and please everyone take precautions. Kasi akala natin wala na. Wala tayong tatamaan ng ganito. But right now I'm feeling fine. I still have yet to get a test kung positive ako o hindi. Pero si Dion ay positive. Si Atty. Trixie yata ay hindi pa positive pero we are exposed so we play safe. Right? And then that's it. Malapit tayong end of the month and beginning of July 1. Trixie is supposed to go on board sa administration ni President-elect Marcos. But this is what's going on right now. Okay. Please like and share this show for today's show. Tambayan sa DWIZ also Oxytos. If you have not yet followed, subscribe to the Facebook and YouTube pages of DWIZ. Please do so now while I think about what's going to happen to me with this exposure. Oh yeah. Wala pa naman tayong sakit so buhay pa tayo niya. Right? Siguro ba akong matatakot sa mga ganyan? But I'm not afraid. Okay. So then, what do you talk about? Yung sa Megaball incident. Kasi yun yung mainit na yun, di ba? And we have published on our Facebook and YouTube account yung Luminous about certain thoughts that we have about this thing, no? And particularly on how people are reacting to what's going on. Okay? How people are reacting to what's going on. Not necessarily about the details and stuff, kasi we don't know the complete details of this case yet. No one does. The police don't seem to be decisive what to do. No? Hindi decisive pa kasi kulang din sila ng information. But on our side, okay, from the public's point of view and involving Luminous Attorney Trixie and me, and JP and Adrian, nagsundo kami na hintayin natin kung ano ang mangyayari and how things will develop, di ba? Hindi tayo nagmamadali, especially when due process is concerned. Kasi ang due process ay sanctioned by the Constitution and protected by the Constitution and should be, it's a must, it's mandatory that it's observed when it comes to things like violations of criminal or penal laws. But, okay. But how is it? Ano yung sociology dito sa sa nangyayari. Hindi ako sociologist, I'm a philosopher by diploma. Okay? But sociology is the study of the society, of how people are interacting in a society and such other things about that in relation to the pursuit of knowledge of everyone involving that kind of subject matter. No? So this is part of discussion on sociology and what goes on and how we react to these kinds of things. So napansin ko na maraming nagagalit. Nung nakita nila na hindi hinuli o hindi aresto, mag-post ay nag-press conference ang police, ang PNP, with the parents and the alleged perpetrator himself, okay, about the incident. So, and that's about how many days after the incident. And while everyone believes na tumakbo siya, tinakbuhan niya yung kanyang aksidente, nangyari nga ito, na parang nag-press conference siya, and it looks like they considered it a surrender, a voluntary surrender. That's how I considered it as well. Bakit? Kasi before that press conference and therefore the voluntary surfacing of Mr. San Vicente, ay nag-issue ng statement ang police at saka ang LTO na sige, kung hindi ka lalabas, we will cancel your license. And the police said, lumabas ka na habang hindi ka pa, hindi pa masyado seryoso pa dahil pagka ikaw ay ma-arresto or huhulihin na ng police and they are forced to do that, baka hindi mo na ma-areglo ito. And that leads me to think na the police considered him a person at large. In other words, the police considered him as someone who ran away from something that he should have faced, diba? By presenting himself to the police. And there was an accident, and we have a positive duty under the law to help our victim when we figure in accidents. But this he did not do. Based on the video that we watched, nobody seems to contest the truth or of the video. Hindi naman yata yung spliced or anything. But this is just on the level of the public perception, not yet in court. So, and therefore, we can still look at the video as some kind of evidence in relation to us and how we form our opinions on this matter, and not readily or already and not already subject to the rules of evidence by the court. So, pwede pa naman natin yung consider, and there's no case yet, so hindi pa tayo masasubjudice nito. Diba? Subjudice is a rule in judicial proceedings na pagka na may case na hindi na pwede usapan niya ng kahit sino outside the court. And the reason for that is ayaw natin ma-influence yung mga tao doon sa korte na involved doon sa pag-litigate na magkaroon ng opinion, mag-form ng mga prejudgments, diba, or mga preconceived ideas that would be that prove deleterious or unbeneficial to the observation of the rule on due process. So, but since wala pang kaso naman, we can still talk about it. But in any case, we will not be talking about the evidence, the details, because I don't know them myself. I don't know them in their entirety. Alam ko lang yung aking napanood din. And from some accounts on newspapers and on broadcast media. So, anong nangyayari dyan? Nakita nga na nag-press conference, mano doon sa Chief of Police, remember the chief of police represents the PNP. The PNP is one of the parties here, and being the party that executes the law and implements our rules and laws and policies on public safety, security of our property and our own persons, our physical bodies, and property like cars and stuff. Such that here the PNP is a party in this incident as the like the big brother or the uncle na mamamalo yan pagka may kasalanan. Yan ang ating tingin dyan from the side of sociology, di ba? Na ang expectation natin yan ay hiyan si kuya or si uncle, di ba? Na pagka nag-away tayo ay sumbong tayo doon. That is not immediately the tatay, because yung tatay pag nagsumbong ka doon ay mapapalo ka dahil away-away ka dyan kasi iyak ka pala magsusumbong. Di ba? But this is kind of like that. This is kind of like that. In looking at the study of sociology, we look at similarities in our own situations, di ba? Para maintindihan natin itong nangyayaring mga events sa society. Kaya yun parang siyang kuya dyan. And then yung taong bayan at yung security guard ay yung isa sa mga nag-aaway. Yung security guard and the other one, the driver that accidentally ran him over, isa yun yun yung pangalawa sa nag-aaway, kunyari lang. So ngayon, nag-aaway sila, nanakpo yung isa, nagsumbong itong isa, kuya, sinaktan ako, nasaktan ako, hindi na siguro yung sinasadya, o sinasadyaman, ganun pa rin. Kaso lang, imbis na tulungan niya ako, or dali niya ako sa hospital, iniwanan ako dito, nanakbo. Pwede bang tulungan niyo ako na mahanap ito siya para mapagalitan mo? O di kayo, maporusahan mo kung kailangan. So, sabi naman ngayon ni Kuya, sige, hanapin natin yan. Hindi natin alam kung nasan siya kasi wala tayo doon sa insidente. So, sige, meron dito. Meron dito megaphone. Mag-announce tayo. Okay? Kung sino man yung nakipag-away dito sa isang batang ito at hindi mo daw siya, nasaktan daw siya, hindi mo daw tinulungan, iniwanan mo lang. Ngayon, hindi ka na namin mahanap. Kung sino ka man, pumunta ka na dito sa amin para mapag-usapan natin itong nangyari. Kung hindi, mapipilitan ka namin hanapin at malamang huhulihin ka namin. Okay? At pagka yan ay nangyari, mahihirapan ka ng aregluhin yung naging labag mo sa ating alituntunin. Diba? So, yan ang nangyari dyan. That is that's the parallel or the analog of what was going on in so far as I am concerned. I am suggesting that you understand it this way temporarily para maintindihan natin sa discussion natin. Right. Ngayon, after I think at least 10 days, lumutang naman itong isang batang pag-away, di ba? Ako po yung pag-away, sorry po, hindi ko na sinasadya. Nandito po yung magulang ko. Yung nanay ko ay magmano pa nga muna doon sa kay kuya. Saglit lang. Magmano naman si stage mother, di ba? Hi kuya, ganyan. Tapos doon sa press conference, wala doon yung kaaway niya, si Bitoy. Si Bitoy, wala doon. Si Balong lang dumating. Si Balong yung nanakpo. Okay, dinala si Balong ng mga magulang dito sa kay kuya. Ngayon, dapat magpaliwanag si Balong kung anong nangyari ba. Imbis na si Balong yung magpaliwanag, yung nanay at tatay niya yung nagpaliwanag. Parang, okay, ilang taon na ba ito si Balong? Si Balong ay about 30-something, 35 or something more than years old. Okay. Nakikita ito lang ng tao. Nakikita natin itong yung mga tao sa barangay na yun na nanonood. Ba't si Balong pinapapaliwanag? Kitang-kita naman siya dun sa TV namin na siya nga yung kariton niya, yung dala-dala niyang kariton, sinatasaan niya doon sa Bitoy. Yan. So, hindi siya salita. Tapos ang lumalabas na dahil nagpapaliwanag na mabait naman yan si Talong, hindi naman yun siya talaga nagasa ang gamit ng kariton niya. Ito ay aksidente lang. Kaso lang, nung nakita niya na natamaan niya pala, hindi sinasadya. Si Bitoy, natakot siya dahil ito naman si Bitoy, may bit-bit na sundang. Yung sundang parang itak na sana ng mga panggatong. Kasi nangungulekta ng panggatong to si Bitoy nung siya ay aksidenteng na tamaan ng kariton. So, sabi ng magulang ni Balong na yan kasi dalang sundang ito si Bitoy nung nangyari nun. Natakot ng si Balong na baka tagain siya. Kaya siya tumakbo. Okay lang yun, di ba? Kung yun ang kasi alam natin, pagka nakasagasa ka, halimbawa, nag-drive ka, nakasagasa ka ng tao, bata sa isang lugar, pag dyan ka sa surrender, malang magugulpi ka. No? Kung hindi ka lang magugulpi, baka mataypats ka ba dyan? Mamatay ka dyan dahil gigil na gigil ang mga hulang yan, mga kapatid mong nasagasaan mo, mamamatay ka kung dyan ka mag-surrender. So, ang ginagawa ng mga driver, ng mga may-ari na sasakyan na naka-aksidente, ay sa susunod, the next town or city na may police doon yan nagsusurrender. Kaya doon yan nag-representan po ako ng disgrasya. Ganyan. And that's justifiable. That's reasonable because it's self-preservation. No? But ito ang magpapaliwanag. Huwag yung sinurenderan mo ang masabi niyan. Bakit? Sila. Kung ikaw talaga ang nakaisip niyan at talagang natakot ka sa sarili mo and therefore you did something that would make you feel safer, then say it yourself. Say it yourself. Bakit mo mapasabi yan sa kung kanino ka sumurrender? Kanino ka nagsumbong kay Kuya? Si Kuya, yan nga yung mag-desisyon ko sino ba tama sa dalawang ito? Kung sino ang nasasabi ng totoo. Kasi kung totoo nga itong sinagsaan mo na iniwanan mo, kakasuhan ka namin. Yun yung parusa. Example lang kung pinari parusa. Pasahan ka namin, kakasuhan ka namin. At pag kinasuhan ka namin, ay may itong parusa doon. Asgado. Pero, imbis na yun ang mangyari na ang dapat ang Kuya ay magiging unbiased, disinterested na parang magdedesisyon, parang siya pa ngayon ang naging spokesperson ni Balong. Paano nangyari yun? Kaya yung mga tao na parang, ang labo nito parang tatangkis, nagmano naman yung magulang ni Balong doon. Baka doon sila, tropa sila ngayon, kung ikaw yung nasagasaan na si Bitoy, isipin mo, wala akong pag-asa dito. Hindi ako nito makakahanap ng justisya doon sa gasa sa akin ng kariton, di ba? Kasi nagagampi naman pala si Kuya na imbis na siya yung magsasabi yung dapat mangyari dito at baka makakuha naman ako ng konting pampalubag-loob, di ba? Magkakampi pala sila kasi yung stage mother nagmano sa kanya, whatever. Ang mga tao naman parang labo nito pagka mahirap dahil si dito medyo mahirap, nangungulekta nga lang ng panggatong. Ito namang si Balong merong magarang kariton. Medyo may pagkakaiba sa kanilang estado sa komunidad. Yung isa medyo maraming salapi. Tapos yung isa naman medyo PG. Di ba? Kulang sa salapi. At yun nga, nangungulekta ng panggatong para magluto ng pansaing na magkadamit ng pansaing. So medyo, siguro ganito to si Kuya, kumakampi dahil maraming salapi itong isa, medyo friends sila, ganyan. Ito namang si Bitoy, hindi nga natin alam kung may magulang to, may pamilya to, mahirap yun Kaya siguro yun hindi friends sila nung ni Kuya. But that is what's going on. Maraming tao tuloy ang nag-iisip na ganyan at nagagalit base sa pag-iisip na ganyan. Okay, but ano ang sitwasyon dyan? I mean, totoo kaya yan na dahil mayaman yan si Balong, kaya siya friends sa police. And ngayon, kaya ang police parang hindi siya bibigyan ng parusa at hindi mabibigyan naman ng katarungan itong si Bitoy. Totoo ba yan? Totoo kaya yan? Yan ba talaga ang totoong sitwasyon ng mga bagay-bagay? Para sa akin, hindi ko masasabi. Hindi ko alam. Hindi ko pa alam kasi wala itong... Ano ngayon? Mayaman siya. Di ba? Si Kuya naman, kung kanyang kungkulan naman sa barangay, walang mayaman dito, walang may mahirap. Kaya ikaw lumabag sa barangay ordinance, may parusa kang konti. Ano dyan? Kaya lang kung sino ka o kung yung stage mother mo, magmamano sa akin o hindi. So, pwede rin mano yung mga may ibang tao sa akin. So we really don't know that. We don't know. But dahil may mga marites nga, kung ano yung naisip nila, base sa halos walang impormasyon, dahil marites, nagiging totoo. Pagkapasa-pasa na yan, pasa-pasa, narinig, nabasa sa AM radio, sa drama, narinig na, ganun nga pala daw ang nangyari. Pasa-pasa hanggang sa halos lahat ng tao sa barangay at sa kabilang barangay ay naniniwala na gano'n ang sitwasyon. Si Kuya doon sa barangay na yun, medyo pabor sa mayaman, maraming pera. Pero, yun nga, hindi totoo yun. At least kung totoo man yun, wala tayong ebidensya doon. Pero bakit natin ginagawa yan? Sociology, di ba? Yun yung mga pag-aaral ng sociology. Bakit yan inaaral? Dahil para matuto tayo ng mga leksyon dyan, kasi marami ang mga nangyayari sa ating kasaysayan ng buong mundo na halos nagkakagera, totoong nagkakagera, nagkakapatayan yung mga miyembro ng isang lugar o ng isang komunidad laban sa kanilang mga kapitbahay o kapit-komunidad or even countries, di ba, mga state, because of chismis, hindi naman pala totoo. But because perception kasi ng marami na maraming naniniwala dyan, maraming nakakaalam dyan. And therefore, totoo yan. Which is not necessarily that the real state of affairs, di ba? So that in this our example, wala tayong justification to be angry, to immediately feel angry and not stop there, but accuse people. Accuse people, like the police, accusing the police at mga bayaran kasi kayo at meron kayong tinampihang mga tao sa community na mayayaman at mga mahihirap ay inaapi nyo. Kung may mga nangyari doon sa mga mahihirap dahil sa kagagawa ng mayayaman, wala na lang, okay lang yun. Kampihan pa yung mga mayayaman, kampihan pa ng mga pulis. What is their justification for saying that, for making that conclusion? Kasi ako, wala pa rin. Wala pa rin. There is no justification. So, it's okay to be angry. That's a natural human emotion. Everyone gets angry. But when we start acting on our anger and we start saying something or doing something that would go into the rights of other people, impinge into the rights of other people and the free exercise of those rights, meron ng problema. Okay? Pero magtutuloy tayo dyan sa puntong ito. Pero we just have to go on a break. It's 12:30. Kita-kits free tayo.
Muli nating balikan Tambayan sa DWIZ.
Nagbabalik ang Tambayan kasama sa himpilan. Ako po si Attorney Cruz Angeles. Pinch hitting for Attorney Osam aming paglinawan na kasalukuyan ay sumusubo pa ng kanyang lunch. Magandang tanghali po sa inyong lahat. Ang pagkaintindi ko, ang discussion ninyo ay tungkol dito sa perception ng press conference conducted by the PNP on the Mega Mall incident. Ukol din dito sa ukol din dito sa mga akusado who apparently has settled or is attempting to settle or is reportedly settling the matter with the victim. So, ngayon, ang discussion is primarily dun sa ating perception about how the PNP conducted itong kanilang press conference. So first of all, what was the need for the press conference? Number one was, dapat ini-explain naman talaga ng ating kapulisan ang proseso dito and the reasons why they could not arrest the suspect at the time na sumabog na yung issue tungkol dito sa Mega Mall incident. Masyado nang matagal between the time of the incident at saka questionable kung meron silang personal knowledge about it, even if they had actually seen the video. So, yes, it was necessary for them to conduct a press conference. Unfortunately, nandun sa press conference yung suspect at ang kanyang mga magulang. And they were there to explain their side, which isn't normally a bad thing kasi everybody has a right naman to say their piece. Pero yung paraan at pagkakataon para ibigay nila ang kanilang panig ay nandun na sa hukuman. Kayun pa man, nothing stops them from doing that. It is the cooperation, the apparent cooperation between the family of the suspect at saka yung mga pulis that seems to put the public off. Medyo medyo off-putting, parang something wrong with that one. Normally, sanay rin po kasi tayo nakikita ang ating mga pulis na ang pinipresenta nila ay yung mga suspect o yung magiging akusado at in the context of a person that they have caught, a person who has, in their belief, nakalabag ng batas at sila po ang naghahatid nito sa hukuman o kaya naghahatid nito doon sa piskalya para ma-determine ang probable cause. So, iba yung konteksto. Nakikita natin in this instance, ang mga pulis ay nag-i-explain doon on behalf doon sa isang tao na ang tingin natin lahat ay bumabag sa batas. Para sa akin, bahagi pa rin ng obligasyon ng pulis to explain. Unang-una, kung merong lumabag sa batas, o pangalawa, kung merong hindi lumabag sa batas. In other words, kapag meron na silang na-solve na kaso at yung unang pinaghihinalaan ay na-exonerate nila, ay kailangan din nilang i-explain. But was this a case na may na-exonerate na isang suspect o akusado? Para sa publiko, hindi po maliwanag yun. For most of the public, nakita yung video, nakita yung pananagasa, at ang nakikita ay ang police taking the side of the suspect. Yun po ang nagiging impression kung kaya't ang reaction ng mga tao ay hindi yan maganda, hindi yan karapat-dapat. Ang police dapat objective. Okay, sana yun. Tama din naman po yun. In other words, we cannot blame the public for thinking the way they do kasi ang nakasanayan natin ay ang pulis ay nasa isang panig lang, nandun sila sa panig ng pagpapatunay ng isang krimen at meron na silang na-identify na suspect na magiging akusado later on sa hukuman. In this case, na-identify na yung suspect pero ang pulis po ang nag-i-explain kung bakit dapat walang sala yung suspect na yun. Unfortunately, hindi pa umaabot yung kaalaman ng publiko tungkol dun sa parte na supposedly walang sala yung suspect. In fact, para sa atin, mas mainam kung hinayaan ng PNP na ang pag-i-explain at pagpupresenta ng ebidensya na ito ay doon sa tamang lugar sa hukuman. Hindi na po mangyayari yun kung sakasakaling totoo ang mga report na nagsisettle na nga po ng kaso itong victim. So what are we left with? We're left with a discussion of this. We're left with, dapat alamin natin na ang pulis hindi lang po nasa panig ng biktima, minsan maraming nabibiktima, including those who are unreasonably blamed for a crime. Including those, unfortunately, they also have to explain na minsan yung biktima namimili din siya ng paraan kung paano siya ma-restitute, kung paano siya makakamit ng hustisya. At para dito sa biktima, sa scenario na ito, para sa kanya, ang restitution ay sufficient ay yung pagbabayad sa kanya. Hindi po disclose naman yung talaga at hindi pa rin naman sigurado kung totoo yun, yung part na yun. But that is what we see. Yan po ay yan po yung unfortunate circumstance dito. It's one of those stories na hindi maliwanag ang black and white. Hindi maliwanag who is the good guy, who is the bad guy. And it confuses the public. It confuses a lot of us. But unfortunately, marami po sa mga kwentong hinaharap sa ating hukuman ay hindi ganyan din kaliwanag. Hindi din kanyang clear cut. Hindi natin nakikita parati yung who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. Sometimes, it isn't that easy. Sometimes the stories aren't that easy. And it's not, hindi ito sine. Minsan, we have to deal with human failings and weaknesses. And in this case, can anybody blame the victim? Can anyone, with the police, I understand talaga. Kahit ako, medyo, why did you have to do that? It complicates things. But, like we said, sometimes the stories aren't that easy. They aren't that clear-cut. And sometimes there is no good guy. Sometimes we're all bad guys. Yeah. Or sometimes we're all just good guys and we're all in a bad situation. So that's how things are. That's real life. Even dealing with the public anger, parang malabas din kasi dito sa pag-i-explain ng pamilya is that they want the public to see their side of it. At naiintindihan din natin kung bakit gusto nila yun. Ang tanong, bakit kasama pa yung police? It complicates things for the police officers, particularly for General Darnold. And don't really want sana na madadamay pa sila. And the family has very many platforms para mag-explain para sa sarili nila. So pwede, ayang sabi ni Attorney Osang, maaari din po kasi sana na it's possible din na humingi yung pamilya ng tulong sa mga pulis kasi natatakot silang kuhingin sila. So they were asking to be protected. We get that. And tama din naman po yun. Pulis din naman po ang mag-afford na magbigay ng protection doon. Yun nga lang, I think things could have been done better. But like with anything else, di ba? Ano yan? Hindsight is 2020. Ibig sabihin, kayang-kaya natin to take the moral high ground here and be angry kasi hindi tayo yung players dito, hindi tayo yung good or bad side, hindi tayo, we can judge from this end.
Hindi tayo under stress.
Hindi tayo yung under stress of the situation. At ika ni Attorney Osang, hindi rin tayo yung nag-pressure katulad ng biktima. Again, if we're going to look at who made mistakes here, of course, yung suspect, and to some extent, yung PNP. It could have been done better. But then, ang panic natin, nandito tayo sa side na, nagmimiron. We're on the outside looking in, and it's easy to judge from this end. That being said, the laws of the land must be upheld. Yun lang po talaga ang maliwanag para sa ating lahat. And if this case was handled in such a way that all the laws were observed, then that is the best that we can hope for. It is not an ideal situation. Ang hirap na, napaka-vague. We're taking kumbaga, this is a realistic point of view. May mga times naman po kasi na we're discussing cases na clear-cut. Sino yung may kasalanan, sino yung may, which side the law is on, or which persons are on the right side of the law. And that's when it's easy. Pero pagka ganito na, and the victim doesn't play into the narrative, then nahihirapan tayo and sometimes it confuses us. because we're used to good versus evil narratives. And unfortunately, life is not like that.
Yes.
Okay, babalik na po si Atty. Awesome. Ako po ay medyo takilang substitute lang dito. Salamat po.
Thank you. Inisita ko niya very dito because she had to personally tell me what she found out about the exposure to the virus. Kasi kanina tinawagan niya lang ako na we have been exposed. Sabi ko, papunta ako sa IC ngayon. Do not go there. Maawa ka kinahiyas. Maawa siya kinahiyas. Maawa ka kinahiyas, kinawiner. Diba? Sabi ko, sige, sa tawa. Message na lang ako sa kanila na dito na lang muna sa bahay niyo. Pumisita siya dito ngayon and then during the break, she caught me eating my lunch. Kasi magsisimula na ako uminom ng mga vitamins siguro nito, no? Dahil baka wala akong matayin nito or something. But wala pa naman akong nararamdaman nila. I'm not scared of dying anyway. Pero yun nga, kumakain ako kanina doon. Sabi niya, sige, kumain ka na lang muna dyan. Ako na lang muna ang oo. At sa puting palad, maganda naman pala ang nangyari dahil may maraming nakakamay sa kanya. At natuwa na nakita ulit siya dito. Wala, takot ang gabi. Nangyari. Okay. Am I still on? I think I'm still on. Wait lang ako ang picture. Okay, so ano ang na-develop na paliwanag ni Atty. Dixie? Basically, yun nga, dahil confusing itong nangyayari dito at hindi siya masyadong maliwanag, hindi kompleto ang impormasyon sa atin, and yet, yung iniisip nating ebidensya ng insidente o yung krimen ay napakalinaw at ang limitasyon ng ating kaalaman tungkol sa ano pa ang procedure sa pag-istiga nito, sa pagpapawala ng sala ng mga tao at ang pag-consider ng mga ebidensya na mga rules na in-observe sa korte, okay, in relation to due process. E dahil hindi natin alam yan, hindi sa karamihan natin hindi alam yan, nafo-focus lang dun sa galit natin because of certain information or based on certain information that are so limited that if you really think about it, there is no basis for our condemnation of certain people on the matter. Yung condemnation natin sa police, to me, is unfair. But ang sinasabi ko is, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angry, but when you start accusing people, you are already violating certain laws and you are already overstepping your boundaries and into and against the rights of other people, like the police. The police have rights also. They can actually also file for defamation cases like libel and slander. Kasi they have a reputation to keep in relation to their functions as police. Na kailangan they are perceived to be above, okay? Just above the regular moral appearance of people. Kasi sila nga yung supposedly may ascendancy. Kasi sila yung nag-i-implement ng batas at nanghuhuli ng supposedly mga perpetrators ng violations ng batas. Okay. So, how do we now move on from this? Because here is a critique of how the public behaves in relation to certain stressful situations and limited information and in relation to each other, okay? And in relation even to the government. Kasi maraming interactions in society under the study of sociology na sabay-sabay na nangyayari because of these incidents. But yung interaction natin with the government, nagagalit tayo dahil ang gobyerno, ang polis natin, walang kwenta, ganyan, bayaran. Tapos pag may nakita tayo ng post sa Facebook of one opinion, nagagalit din tayo sa kanya dahil hindi siya nag-agree sa atin o hindi tayo nag-agree sa kanya. So, there is a critique there of this kind of behavior, because this kind of behavior just happens and no one seems to be thinking about it yet or first before having this behavior and exhibiting it in outward actions like mga away ka na lang after you become angry at what you watch, diba? We have to think about all of these things because it is part of our discovery of ourselves in our relation to the community and to the society. And as an extension or in generalizing it, everyone is in that same situation. So that if we take it to ourselves to self-critique our own emotions, our own reactions to certain things in society, and then we generalize it, we universalize it, we think that others are also doing this, they are also self-critiquing. Imagine how beautiful this world will be. Imagine how nice the society will be. Nicer, in fact. And it did not have to involve somebody imposing a very strict law or regulation. Diba? It was just a voluntary self-examination, and then critiquing, and then self-correction, and then acting accordingly to that process. And if somebody perceives that in us and follows the same because it's a good and rational action to do, it will spread. Everyone does it, and then very, very soon, everyone will be more circumspect in what they say and how they react, okay? Regardless of how angry they become or frustrated or sad or lonely or broken, that they will not immediately, unnecessarily, and thoughtlessly offend other people, or much worse, violate the rights of other people. Because eventually we will have to realize that we have no control over things that are outside of our bodies. Okay? The only things that we can control are ourselves. So that no matter how angry we get and how sharp and harsh the words are that we use on other people who disagree with us, on our anger and our emotions, there's really nothing that can justifiably support our thinking that they must follow me, or they must agree with me, or they must do what I want them to do. Because there is really no such thing. You have no power over anyone or anybody or any agency. You are only involved in a multi-consensual interactions of many different individual human beings na wala ring power over you. So, in the final analysis, we are all just very powerful entities, okay? But as soon as we interact with each other, we realize that we are really powerless as to another individual aside from ourselves. And when everybody in the society, in the community realizes this, they would think of better ways to interact with each other na hindi na lang sila mag-offend. Wala akong control sa'yo. So let's just talk about it calmly, or even if we have to fight about this, we still find the rational solution or the rational alternatives to the solution that we commonly want to happen, okay, that we both want to achieve. So instead na mag-away-away tayo when we are already equipped with this tool of self-examination, self-critiquing, and voluntary correction of the things that we did wrongly or unjustifiably, then this world is going to be very nice. Diba? And it's not a very big project and very expensive undertaking to do, because you just need to stop and think and look at yourself, speak to yourself, listen to yourself, and then decide, okay, hindi ko talaga gagawin ulit yan. Maybe there's also a bit of self-forgiveness there. No? Kung nakagawa ka na ng isang bagay na nakasakit, maaaring nakasakit sa kapwa, sa society, meron din self-forgiveness doon. And if everybody forgives themselves, it would not be very hard to forgive each other. It will not be very hard to forgive each other. Okay? And so nakikita natin na yung security guard dito can forgive this guy if he probably gets paid. And that's enough for me. I have no power over him to dictate to him, no, hindi yan ganyan ang hustisya. Okay? But if that's the way that he thinks, and I am able to understand his stand because I listen to him, I listen to other people that interact with him, and then I examine myself and the way I behave and the way I think, and I change it, I'm probably at ease with it as well. Diba? At the end of the day. So, ganun lang sana. And that is an ongoing struggle of humanity in a society, because humanity can't be divorced from society. It is always hand in hand. There is a very powerful human entities, very powerful on their own rights, and on their own turfs, which is their bodies and their minds. But they also need to interact in a community, in a society, so that certain things may be done. Like may makakain ako at hindi naman ako marunong magtanim, mayroon akong magbitan ng pananim at pwede kong iluto. Mga ganyan. So these things, out of need for humans to survive, they are now forced to interact with each other. And in interacting with each other, they run into conflicts like this, okay? And sometimes even worse than this. But we have stumbled upon the possible solution, which is self-critiquing, self-examination, self-correction, self-forgiveness, and then later on, if we universalize, think that everybody in the society does it as well as we do, then it's easier. It will really be easier for everyone to be at peace with each other, with themselves and with each other. And we will have a happier place to live in. And that is the dream of the communists who are anarchists. Like me, I am an anarchist. But that will be a topic for a different day. That's probably tomorrow. Meanwhile, dahil alauna na, ay magpapaalam na ako sa inyo. Maraming salamat po sa panonood. Ang susunod na programa ay ang Pilipinas Ngayon Na with Yusek Robert Rivera and Miss Lady Eliza. Maraming salamat po sa panonood ninyo at sana ay ma-follow kayo sa DWRC 882 at saka sa Luminous sa Facebook at saka sa YouTube. And that's my message to you today. Good afternoon and goodbye.
Tambayan sa DWIZ.